demonstrations and asking
So say it again about J11. What's that about?
J11 on July 11th, 2023.
Okay.
The Cuban people, mostly young people, artists, went out into the streets to protest the dictatorship and the lack of freedoms in Cuba, and they were all beaten, jailed, and some were even killed.
Wow.
We had a demonstration here for them, and this is in their honor.
Wow. Okay. So I got to ask you this. As you know, all over LA, there are these No Kings rallies. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't say it because I'll say a bad word, and my mom taught me never to cuss.
I gotcha. Okay.
They don't know what they're doing. They are people that have never lived in communism, people that don't realize that this is the greatest country.
Get away from the stereo so I can hear you better.
They don't realize that this is the greatest country in the world, and we have to protect it. And whether you like our current president or not, he is trying to do something to protect this country.
That's it.
You know, I don't particularly like his style. He's from New York. He's a typical New Yorkan, but he knows what he's doing.
Okay.
He's doing a good thing for the world, and especially for the United States. And if he does something for Cuba, I will kiss the ground that he walks on for the rest of my life.
Wow. So you think, how long do you think it's going to take? What do you see happening in Cuba? Do you think that everybody's going to leave? Will there be elections? What do you think is going to happen?
I would hope that there would be free elections.
Okay.
And the Cubans from here, the billionaires, and we have plenty of them, will go and invest in Cuba with assurances, with a free election and assurances that they won't have the same things that happened to them before, where they lost everything and they had to flee the country. So no one's going to go invest in Cuba without that assurance. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely. I mentioned again, just going back to the No Kings thing. So you're saying these young people, they went and they protested.
Yeah.
They just protested.
That's all they did.
And they got arrested and killed.
Yes, and beaten beyond recognition.
Wow.
And they were artists, they were young people, some as young as 12 and 13 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of them, over 1,000 people, still have not been accounted for. We don't know where they're at. They released 51 people when this whole thing started. Where are the others? Where are the other 949? Where are they? I have a feeling they're dead.
I've got to ask this question because people always say this. They'll go, communism has never really been tried. What do you say to that when people, especially about Cuba, what do you say to that?
Talk to my family who had to leave Cuba overnight and leave everything behind. Talk to the people, the family of some of our committee members whose family members got pulled out of their homes, put in front of the firing squad and shot. And then talk to all the people that have come lately that have had to stand in line for hours and hours and hours to try to get some food for their family. They get to the front of the line, oh sorry, everything's gone. And you know what? It's not the fault of the blockade. There is no blockade because every country in the world, every single country in the world does business with Cuba. But what happens? They don't pay their bills. So after they don't pay their bills, they don't want to deal with Cuba anymore. And the U.S. sends every year food and medicine. The United States is the biggest provider of poultry to the island of Cuba. Where does that go? The people don't see it. It's all the government officials that get fat on the plight of their people. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I hate communism. I hate it with a passion. And there's a lady that came here and she said, let me ask you something, very high and mighty. And she said, I have Cuban neighbors, and they love what Trump is doing, and they think that is great. I said, you know what? Then I think you don't belong here because everyone here thinks the same thing. She said,
say that again. I'm sorry. It was a little unclear to me. You're saying that they don't like Trump, or they?
No, they like Trump.
Okay.
And she doesn't like Trump.
So this is some neighbor of theirs.
Yes, some neighbor. She says, I don't know how to deal with them because they love Trump. And I said, well, you're not going to like it here because everybody in this place that you see here loves Trump and loves what they're doing to Cuba.
Wonderful. Wow.
I said, please leave.
Wow. And this was like, let me guess, like a native-born American, or
yeah.
See, it's like Americans are spoiled. They don't understand how.
They don't realize what a great country we live in.
Wow.
They do not realize it. They do not realize how horrible communism is. And you know what? This is the first president. I've been here since I was 7 years old.
7 years old?
Yes.
So you were born in Cuba?
I was born in Cuba.
Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't experience experience a lot of the things because we left in 1960.
1960. Okay.
But my family members that have come after me tell me the horror story, and it's awful. Absolutely awful. Awful. My mom and I went back to Cuba in 2004. She was elderly and she was starting with dementia and she wanted to go back. So I took her.
How were you able to get over there? Isn't there like, did you have to go through another country?
We
Or?
had to go through Cancun.
Through Mexico, okay.
And I swore when I got back on the airplane to come back that I would never set foot in that island until communism was out of it. Because the repression, the lack of basic necessities.
How about that?
Oh no, it was horrible. I visited my cousin and I wanted to rent a car because I wanted to visit all the places that my mom still remembered. I wanted to do that for her. And they wanted $1,700 for 6 days. I said, no, I'm not going to give the dictatorship $1,700. So I told my cousin, do you have anybody that has a car that can drive us around? She said, yes. It was a young man who was...
So tell me about the 1,700. I'm sorry. Say that again.
$1,700 was to rent a car.
Oh my goodness.
To rent a car for 6 days.
Wow.
Okay.
So they do have capitalism.
Oh,
They
yeah.
extortion.
Yes. Okay, for the government.
The government owned the car.
The government owns everything.
So the
wait,
government is not providing, they're stealing.
Of course they
Ah.
Of course they are. And we stayed at her house. She got a friend of hers who had an old car from the 1950s. My mom was in seventh heaven because it reminded her of the car that they used to have.
Okay.
She was so happy. At the end, we would go to restaurants, and I would see that he would only eat a couple of bites, and then he would ask for it to go. And the second day I said, aren't you hungry? He said, well, I have a wife and daughter at home, and we never get food like this, so I'm saving it for them. So from then on, I bought for him and one for his wife and his daughter to take home.
Wow.
At the end of our 6 days, I gave him the $1,700, and he fell on the floor crying. He was a doctor who only made $30 a month. He says, this is more than I will make in 10 years.
Wow. Gosh.
We went to Varadero, to the hotel that my mom and dad...
Oh, and I've got to ask you this question, if you don't mind. Tell me what the healthcare system is like, because you remember Michael Moore did that documentary called Sicko, claiming that healthcare is excellent in Cuba. What's the truth?
Okay, let me tell you the truth. My cousin that we went to visit was diagnosed with lymphoma. We had to send her, she's alive today, because we sent her through the Red Cross all of her chemotherapy, all of her medication, everything from here, and that's the reason she's alive today. Everybody that was in the hospital with her died. We had to send her linens, we had to send her blankets, everything we had to send because the hospitals didn't have anything.
Wow.
We sent her money so her mother would buy chicken that the U.S. provided so she could make chicken soup to take to her daughter in the hospital. And she's alive today because of that. Everybody else passed away. So Michael Moore...
So because there was family from America to be there to provide.
No. We sent it. We didn't go, but we sent it to her.
Okay.
And through the Red Cross.
Got it.
And
Thank
she
you.
was able to get her medication, and she's alive today because...
See, because we can't understand that, because we can go to a hospital, we get care, whatever, some people will complain, oh, it's so expensive, but that's because you get it right away, you're not waiting, and, if there's anything, we need more freedom to fix it, not less. That's the answer.
Where my cousin lived, it was a building, a 3-story building. It was all doctors and nurses, and because the Cuban government puts them in the place that they have to live. So across the hall from her was a nurse. She was the head of the renal surgery department at a hotel where only dignitaries and outsiders go.
Oh.
She didn't have any shoes because she wore a size 10, and in Cuba they don't make shoes that big. So she went to school, to work every day in flip-flops, to surgery in flip-flops.
Whoa!
So when I have a size 10 shoe, 10 foot, I left her all of my shoes. All of them.
Wow.
She was so happy. So no, don't talk to me about communism, please. I can't.
People need to hear that, and I'm going to try to go to one of these No Kings protests, and I'm going to see if I can talk to somebody. I doubt. We'll see what happens. Say your name again?
My name is Rosemarie.
Rosemarie, thank you so much for sharing your time with
You're
me.
very welcome. Anytime.
Absolutely.
Talk about Cuba and I guess communism anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.